All right, so I had my appointment all set. All the paperwork was done. So I'm bringing in the car to the service center and didn't know where to go at first in the service center. So once I drove in, I just parked in a spot. I went in, I said who I was, the appointment, and they're like, oh yeah, just bring it right up to the garage door right over here. Cool. So I moved my car to the front of the garage door. It's closed, so I thought I was waiting for somebody to open it. No one did. So I park it, I go back in, it's like, hey, the garage door is still closed. And they're like, no, just get close enough to it. It'll detect the Tesla, and it'll just open. Like, okay. And then I did. So I go back in the car. I move closer to the door. The door detects the Tesla. And my God, this was the fastest, absolute fastest garage door I've ever seen. First of all, it was basically one of those very tall garage doors. It was probably a 20-foot tall garage door. And it opened in the blink of an eye. So I pull up, I start seeing the door go up, I literally blink and the door's open. It was just like, and it's open. It was all the little panels. It didn't feel the door, but it looked like it was the kind of like plexiglass panels, a lot of little ones, and it just rolls up. It didn't open like a traditional garage door. This was a roller garage door, so it just rolled up. I drove in. Once I parked my car, then and as quickly as it opened, it closed. And I was very impressed with that. All right, so after I signed the repair authorization, everything was set. She just said, hey, if the person at the desk, if there's anything in your car that you want to get out, like an easy pass or anything personal that you need, do that now. And that was it. I went to sit in the waiting room and wait for the service advisor to come up. Not too long, and in the Tesla service center, which I've been to before, and like the collision center, they have a pretty neat, comfortable, minimalist, I like the style of car, waiting rooms. They have free coffee and tea and water there that you can enjoy while you are waiting for your car or waiting for your advisor. Maybe it was about 5 minutes. The guy comes. He was like, cool, let's go over it. We walked out. Went into the area, that little special garage door area where the car was. He looked at it. He was like, it doesn't seem too bad with these dents. He thinks he can work on it. So what they would do is they would take the door off. They would pull the outer shell off the inner part of the door. And then he would strip the paint. He would do some sheet metal work on it to get the everything all set, to try and build back up the metal, bend it back into shape so it forms that nice aerodynamic line again. Then they would repaint it. But what he also said was Tesla's standard for this was from the point of the damage, 18 inches around has to be refinished and blended as well, which means it went into the front door. They would have to take the front door apart as well, even though there was no damage to it. And they would strip the paint off down to the metal and repaint and blend that as well. That's probably why the estimates between Progressive and Tesla were different by almost $1,000. So he explained that. He was like, cool, I'll give you updates on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And that's about it. It was cool. Very nice guy. We chatted a little bit about the Model Ys. He also had a Model Y. So cool to connect with other Tesla owners with that. All right. And then that was it so far. And the waiting game began. Well, these are pretty much the same conditions as when I first inspected the damage. And look at this. There's nothing. It's just, it looks like nothing ever happened. Even down here on this line, nothing. So the damage is completely gone. And even just looking at the paint looks perfect. Because they said, so the damage was here, and from this, and then from this point down here, they said they had to go 18 inches in a circle. So 18 inches all around, which would include the front door. So they actually had to strip the paint off the front door and repaint the front door so to make sure they 100% match. And I am extremely impressed. A couple other things I noticed. They put some tire wet and cleaned the tires along all 4 tires here. The car itself looks like it was clean because I know there was a lot of pollen on the car. So with a little bit of rain on top of it, it looks really good. And so all 4 tires got a little bit of tire wet. And then inside, they did have this little mat. The mat was perfectly cleaned. They also, because this was pretty dirty, they cleaned the passenger mat too. And they cleaned the back. So the seat's perfectly clean and the mat is perfectly clean. So besides fixing the damage, they cleaned the entire interior and it smells like a brand new car again in here. So today is exactly 1 week and 1 day. Now they originally said 3 to 5 business days, which is a week. So it has been a week. And this week was also Memorial Day week. So there was an extra day that the business was closed. So they weren't working on it. So they were exactly what they quoted, which was a week. And a week later, I got the car back. So my initial thoughts, I am very impressed with both the turnaround time, the professionalism of everybody at Tesla, and again, the quality of this repair. It literally looks like nothing ever happened. And with the front door, because again, they had to strip the paint and redo everything to match, it looks like the way it was when it rolled off the lot. So, a little bit of interesting foreshadowing there. That is what I thought happened, but it is not what happened because now I have the final invoice. So let's take a quick peek at this because there was something very interesting in there. All right, so here are the repair notes from the invoice. Under this, parts replaced or added. Part, door shell front, right. Oh. Door shell. Originally, the guy said he'll take the door off, he'll remove the outer shell from the inner part of the door, and he'll try metalworking the outer shell. My guess is that did not work well, and it didn't produce the results they wanted. So, they actually had to replace the outer shell of the door there. And the same thing is in the next page with the other side of the door. So in this is quite a lot of work they did with all the labor hours and correction things. But here, part, door, shell, rear, right, which is what it was again. And both of these doors, the shell at least, seems to have been replaced. But I was wondering, all right, I have a part number here. And there's also a lot about paint inside here because they still sounds like they had a paint. So I was wondering, what does that mean? So I was able to look up from Tesla itself the parts. So this is all the hinged parts that they're talking about. So right here, front door, right hand, service he coded. I don't know what that part meant, but unpainted parts. So if you can order these by yourself, I guess, if you really want to. So right there, number 4, there's the front right door. So this outer shell had to be replaced. And this comes unpainted. So they take the paint code from my car, which the car color is called Stealth Gray. And then they take these parts and they paint it right there in the collision center. So it's a fresh coat of paint, which they did say, but it's a fresh coat of paint on top of brand new outer shells for for the door, which I thought was very interesting. All in all, I am very happy with the results here. Even though they had to look like they replaced the shell of the door, I think that in the end is better, because now that is factory. That those doors come from the factory pre-molded. If you've seen all the Tesla videos with like they're form molding all these different pieces of sheet metal, it comes from the factory, so it's a factory fresh door with a fresh coat of paint on the outside, and then all the innards of the door were the same. So the linings on the inside, all the electronics, all the hinge parts, and the door handle mechanism, the window mechanism, all of that was able to be saved from the original door. It's just the shell that was replaced. So it did save both Tesla and Progressive some money, but either way, I'm very happy. It looks as good as it did from the factory or from the showroom floor. And actually, it looks better than it did when I dropped it off, because they washed it and they vacuumed it and they had a nice little smell in there. Alright, so that's going to be a wrap for this video. Very different type of videos. Let me know what you think. This is my electrified Weatherman, the electrified part with the switch to EV, so let me know what you think about that. Otherwise, we'll just have more weather content. So if this is your first time and you enjoy what you saw, hit the little subscribe button below and a little bell icon right next to that so you get notified when I upload videos like this or I go live. Alright everybody, this is Chief Meteorologist Andrew Pinero. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you all in the next video.